Every human mind is a heavily guarded fortress. It is surrounded by high walls of ego, defended by insecurity, and locked with cognitive biases. If you want someone to do something for you, whether it is signing $1 million contract, giving you a promotion, or following your command, you have to get inside that fortress. How do most men try to get in? They launch a frontal assault. They march up to the heavy iron gates and start banging on the wood. They say, "I need this project finished." They say, "I want a raise because I worked hard." They say, "You should buy my product because it is the best." They use the word I want, I need, I deserve. What happens when you attack a fortress from the front? The guards sound the alarm. The drawbridge goes up. The psychological defenses lock down completely. When you try to force your agenda onto another human being, their ego immediately perceives you as a threat. They will resist you. Not because your idea is bad, but simply because it is your idea, and yielding to you feels like a defeat. Brute force is the weapon of the amateur. It is exhausting, it is loud, and it almost always fails. Welcome to the TEDUY operating system. Today, we are burning the old rulebook. We are not going to attack the fortress anymore. We are going to make them open the gates, smile, and carry our payload inside for us. Dale Carnegie wrote, "The only way on earth to influence other people is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it." The average man reads this and thinks it is about being helpful. The elite man reads this and realizes he has just been handed the blueprints to the most devastating psychological weapon in history. The Trojan Horse Method. You never show your weapon. You never reveal your true objective. You wrap your agenda inside their deepest desire, and you let them pull it into their own mind. The siege is over. The infiltration begins now. Before you can build the Trojan horse, you must know what the enemy worships. If you offer a wooden horse to a kingdom that only desires gold, they will burn it at the gates. You cannot guess what they want. You must find their exact psychological hunger. In the TEDUY protocol, we call this scanning for the ego port. The amateur projects his own desires onto the target. He pitches a new idea to his boss by saying it will improve company efficiency. He thinks logic and facts will win the day. But here's the dark reality. The boss does not care about the company's efficiency. The boss cares about getting his end-of-year bonus. The boss cares about looking like a visionary to the board of directors. The boss cares about doing less work while taking all the credit. Logic is an illusion. Human beings are driven by primal, selfish code. To infiltrate the mind, you must become a psychological hacker. You must observe your target with absolute cold detachment. You're not judging them. You are profiling them. Listen to them. What do they complain about the most that reveals their deepest fear? What do they brag about that reveals their fragile ego? Are they obsessed with status and power? Are they terrified of losing control? Or are they simply lazy, desperately looking for the path of least resistance? Every human being has a master drive. Greed, fear, vanity, sloth. You must locate this drive. Because until you know exactly what they are desperate for, you cannot disguise your weapon. You cannot trick them into opening the gates. Once you identify their core selfish desire, the scanning phase is complete. You have found the blueprint. It is time to construct the payload. You have scanned the target. You have found their ego port. You know their master drive, whether it is greed, vanity, or fear. Now, You construct the Trojan horse. The rule of infiltration is absolute. Never present your objective as a favor to you. Present it as the ultimate, unavoidable vehicle to get exactly what they crave. Dale Carnegie said, "He who can put himself in the place of other men, who can understand the workings of their minds, need never worry about what the future has in store for him." Let us look at a tactical application. Imagine you need your team to work overtime this weekend to finish your project. The amateur begs. He says, "Please, I really need this done to meet my deadline." The team hears this, and their psychological gates slam shut. They do not care about your deadline. The elite man deploys the Trojan horse. He has already profiled the team. He knows their master drive is a desperate desire to get upper management off their backs and have more autonomy. He walks into the room and says, "Management is breathing down our necks. But if we crush this deployment by Monday morning, I can use this win to build a wall around this team. I can buy us total freedom and zero interference for the next month. But to get that freedom, we have to lock this down right now. Look at what just happened. You took exactly what you wanted, weekend work, and you hollowed it out. You placed it inside a giant wooden horse built entirely out of their desire for freedom. When you do this correctly, the target does not feel manipulated. They feel empowered. They will willingly sacrifice their weekend. They will fight relentlessly for your objective because you have convinced them that they are fighting for their own survival. You did not force the gates open. They opened the gates themselves, and they pulled your payload right into the center of their minds. The Trojan horse is inside the walls. The payload has been delivered. But there is one final step to absolute mastery: the illusion of ownership. If the target ever realizes that you planted the idea, their ego will trigger an immediate defense mechanism. The virus will be detected and neutralized. You must erase your fingerprints from the operation. Dale Carnegie revealed the ultimate override code. Let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers. The amateur is obsessed with taking credit. He wants everyone to know how smart he is. His ego destroys his tactical advantage. The elite man never takes credit. He knows that taking credit is a fatal leak of power. He does not care who gets the applause. He only cares who controls the outcome. To create the illusion of ownership, you do not give them the full plan. You give them the pieces. You ask guiding questions. You plant subtle, calculated hints. You lead them down a carefully designed psychological maze until they reach the center, put the pieces together, and discover the idea themselves. And when they finally speak your exact plan out loud, you do not smile. You do not say, "That was my idea." You nod with absolute respect. You look them in the eye and tell them it is brilliant. Checkmate. Because they believe they created the idea, their ego is now permanently fused to it. They will champion it. They will execute it with relentless energy. They will defend your agenda against any attack because they are defending their own pride. They sit on the throne, believing they are the king of the castle. But you are the architect of the simulation. Stop forcing your way through the front door. Build the Trojan horse. Feed their greed, bypass their ego, and let them hand you the keys to the kingdom. If you are ready to stop begging and start hacking the human mind, type "I am the architect" in the comments below. Welcome to the TEDUY Brotherhood. Subscribe to the channel, master the code, control the room, and stay cold.